The Women's March on Washington is this weekend, and it aims to unite women regardless of their age, religion, ethnicity, economic status, or sexual orientation. Toilet queen, ghoul nipple, sexy chambers, leper, and cholera. These aren't just words or phrases. These are actual names people in the U.S. have given their children. An estimated 200,000 women from across the nation are expected to participate in the Women's March on Washington, January 21st. New research out of Northwestern University analyzed 5 decades of draw scientist studies conducted since the 1960s. Cameras lined the majority of a wall in 19-year-old Andrew Lawlon's bedroom. But it wasn't always that way. From the age of 14 until Andrew was 16, video gaming consumed his life. That is, until he realized he was addicted.
So I was gaming for like 10 hours one Saturday, and my parents came home and they were like, "Hey, what have you been doing all day?" And I was like, gaming, and at that point they were just disappointed.
He was finding his identity, I think. He was finding success. He was getting validation, all of these things that gaming does for kids.
So I researched how to quit playing video games on YouTube, and the first answer was Cam.
I started Game Quitters in 2015 in January, and so it's just over 3 years old now.
Cam, who is a former gaming addict himself, launched GameQuitters.com to help other people quit gaming.
We know from our own research that 48% of our community meets criteria for moderate plus depression.
That's why Cam says it's so important that the World Health Organization classified gaming addiction as an actual mental health disorder earlier this year.
I think it actually has a huge impact on making sure that people who need and want help are able to get it. So right now, if you're a therapist and you have a 23-year-old, most likely male, come into your office for depression, which is what they're more likely to come in for, and you're not screening for their gaming use, you could be missing a huge component of why they're so depressed.
Although Andrew didn't have to seek medical help, he did go through Cam's 90-day detox program.
I physically had to unplug the gaming consoles and tell my parents don't let me do this, and I deleted all the games off the iPads and the iPhones and whatnot.
And instead of gaming, Andrew picked up his family camera and started learning about photography.
And the photography, to see Andrew have such a passion for something and learn it and go with it and run with it, and then he just came alive. I mean, I think it was night and day.
That decision made me into the photographer that I am today, and I've been all over the world taking pictures, and I've been mentored by a National Geographic photographer. I'm so glad that there's people out there like Cam to help you out on the journey, and just, a community of people there, and it's just really impacted my life.
When I was interviewed by police, I didn't get a lot of information out. I kind of froze up. I felt really uncomfortable. When I was done with my interview with the detective, I just wanted to go home. I almost didn't even want to have a rape kit done, because he had told me that with the information I told him, that there was nothing that they could do and nothing was going to happen. So I didn't really feel motivated to keep talking. There were a lot of elements of what had happened to me that were missing in my original statement. And a few minutes after I spoke with the detective, a nurse came in who was trained in FETI, and she talked to me for a long time. She asked me, what did I smell? What did I hear? What did I taste? And she never cut me off. She just let me talk.
Together a puzzle. The first thing we do is we look at the picture, and we select that puzzle that we want to work on by the picture. And then we dump out all the pieces, and then we sort them through. In reality, instead of taking a puzzle, dumping out all the pieces, and then looking at the picture, what happens is basically it's a fistful of pieces during that tragic event, and they're thrown in the air, they fall all over us, and some of them are upside down, some are right side up, and then the puzzle box gets thrown away. We never get to see the picture.
wrote down 18 pages of my account, and I worried later on when we were preparing for trial, oh my gosh, I wonder if there's things I didn't say in my interview. And I went back and I looked at her report and it was all there. This bill would set up a program with the Department of Justice to provide funding and training for law enforcement officers.
You know, they're in harm's way just as we are. Usually we'll use them if it's a high risk or like a barricade situation where we're doing a slow methodical search through a building just because they're heavy and we want the dogs to be able to move. We don't have them wear them in everyday activity.
Many of the police dog units that are in America now are grossly underfunded. And oftentimes it is those ballistic vests that are on the chopping block, and many units still don't have those vests. And that generates the energy and the money to try to make sure that it doesn't happen again for a future police canine handler.
Oh boy. You can take a breath as far as having it on because it gives them a chance. You know, where, you know, that guy pulls a gun and starts shooting where officers are going to duck for cover. Our dogs aren't going to duck for cover. Our dogs are going to run right towards them. You know, so it gives the dogs a chance, you know, as far as if they do get hit. You know, to many of us, they're more than just pets. They become like your child, essentially, you know, like you don't want to see any harm come to them.
She used the craft that she already had at her fingertips to create something that she could fit into the space of one library and train an entire forensic class with those things.
So what we're doing is fitting a vehicle to the soldier instead of making the soldier fit his mission to the vehicle that's available. The tool will pull from a variety of different parts that are available and design for them at that moment exactly the vehicle that they need.
Another way that the catalog can work is that the soldier or the Marine can actually build a mission using a bird's eye view map of the area of interest.
Most of the components are designed to snap into place, so they're easily put together and taken back apart if you need to.
Part of the benefit of our tool that we're developing is that you can input new updated electronics and components and immediately adapt your design to accept those parts, so that way you're never obsolete. You can always make adjustments on the fly.
each doll has, a story that tells about something in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. We found that girls like applied math, or they like problem solving, so they want to have something that's connected to a story. It's a bridge between a world where you never even thought about having a coding robot to having one, and then, growing your interest.